Hi there, my name is Steve Gerhardt, and as always, this is the Unagi Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the video this week. We're going to do our first Cyberpunk review. Yes, it's going to be an anime review. Actually, it's going to be two parts of a three-part anime movie called Neo Tokyo. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So in 1986, two anime studios got together to make a science fiction anime anthology movie. That movie was Neo Tokyo. It has three parts to it. Its initial reception was basically only festivals, and Toho had decided to just direct to video release it, and at the time that would have been VHS tapes. And so that was in 1987. It started getting a cult following, so then finally it got its theatrical releases in 1989. That's kind of how we got it over here in America. It is a very well thought of anime anthology movie. Again, it's primarily science fiction, and it has three parts to it. And the titles, I'm only going to do two out of the three because the third one really isn't, or it's actually the first one in the anthology series, isn't really Cyberpunk, but the other two are. Those two are going to be The Running Man and Construction Cancellation Order. So let's go ahead and start with The Running Man. Okay, so the first segment we're going to talk about, which is actually the second segment in the movie, is called The Running Man. And I'm going to tell you who the director was, and please forgive my inability to properly pronounce Japanese, so please forgive me on that. But the director for that was Yoshiaki Kawahiri. And The Running Man is a really, really interesting animation, and it is technically anime, but you'll notice that when you watch it, it actually has a very much a throwback style to the artist Mobius, who is one of his comic books, Aquarium Metal, I think it's called, is considered one of the first comic cyberpunk to be made. So anyway, it kind of throws back to Mobius a little bit. And one of the really nice things about The Running Man, actually the story is not really nice itself, but it lends a very much strong cyberpunk kind of world building. So the story behind The Running Man is basically there's these death races, and so there's these tracks in this huge metropolis. It's unnamed, and this huge track that goes around, and these kind of like really high-tech hover cars that race around, and they keep going until only one driver is left. So these are usually death races. Most of the people who participate in this sport really last only a couple of years before they're killed in one of the races. And the story kind of revolves around one particular character named Zach, who is a very successful racer because he had been doing it for probably 8 years, which is unheard of. And he hasn't, in every race he wins, and just about in every race, everyone else dies. So this is kind of a grim and bleak kind of thing. As it turns out, a reporter who is trying to do a story on this guy, Zach, comes to find out that Zach actually has some telekinetic powers. He stumbles in on Zach as he's kind of flexing his powers, and Zach doesn't know he's there. So as he's going through these races, what Zach is doing is kind of cheating a little bit, in that he's using his telekinetic powers to cause problems in other cars so that they blow up, go off track, flip or whatever, so that he can win the race. The problem, of course, is that for some reason his telekinetic powers kind of sap his strength, kind of wear on him, damage him a little bit. So he uses it very sparingly. It just causes a lot of physiological things to go on, particularly in his face. But as I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up as a review is because Running Man has that perfect cyberpunk noir feel to it. Everything is dark. Everything is flickering neon lights, right? There's things going on in the corners. When you look at the backdrops of the anime, you see pipes and things going everywhere, and you can kind of sort of imagine of like what's going on, this warren of apartments and things and buildings behind the track itself. And there's this kind of grim hopelessness about the whole thing, like as if people are really not there to root for a winner, but to see who dies, right? This is more about death than it is about life, and Cyberpunk often ends in a lot of death. So it's very grim, and as the story unfolds, his telekinetic powers kind of change his mind a little bit, and he's actually won the race, but he sees this one spectral car in front of him, and he has to beat this car. He has to keep going after it. And so the crowd is just agog with this, and they're just like wanting to watch this. Why does this guy keep driving? He keeps going faster and faster and faster, and he blows himself out with his telekinetic abilities, and it's just this really insane, gruesome Mobius way of depicting somebody's death. I mean, it's beautiful, but at the same time, it's very disturbing as an image that's going to stick with you. But the Cyberpunk, of course, we have the technology, how he's hooked into the car, how people are hooked into the race of these cars, how they're looking to see, is he going to die at this time, and so it's got that noir feel to it for the reporter who's trying to figure out what is Zach's deal, how is he winning all the time, how is he not dead. And there's a little bit, tiny bit, not a whole lot, of a detective noir series, which happens in a lot of Cyberpunk stories. And so you have also this contrast that happens in Cyberpunk a lot, which is new gritty technology. Everything's gritty, dirty, and kind of falling apart a little bit, contrasted with something that is a little bit older, like clothes. So you notice that the reporter's wearing something that the press would wear out from like 1950s, early 60s, things like that. So there's a lot of these contrasts, visual contrasts that go on. It's a short story, obviously. It's a short segment. And if you want to see or have something to feel of grit, cyberpunk grit, this is definitely part of it. So definitely avail yourself of the second segment of the anthology movie called The Running Man. Now, the second Cyberpunk anime segment in Neo Tokyo is actually the last segment that is shown. It's the construction cancellation order by Katsuhiro Otomo. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, it should. That is the guy who did Akira, however you want to pronounce it. And you can definitely see the visual style is right there. It's all Otomo, so it says that definite character design that he has that is unique to his style. And also that type of animation that can speed up, slow down, that kind of stuff. So this is definitely a work by Otomo. Otomo's kind of flexing his muscles a little bit on this one. So construction cancellation order is basically a company in Japan has a contract to build a city-sized project called 444 in the middle of this South American jungle. And there is a revolution in this fictional country where this project is trying to take place, and because the rebels win initially, they have to basically stop the project, to terminate it, because they don't have a contract with the new government. So they send this poor salaryman into the depths of South America to this huge project. And if you've seen Akira, you'll remember how he has Mega Tokyo, how he built it up, and there's tubes and things everywhere, and there's always movement going on, and you can see stuff going on in the distance, and there's always something, like the city itself is almost alive. So Project 444 is kind of like its own living, breathing thing. And so the salaryman, this poor guy, has to come in and shut it all down because like I said, the new government doesn't have a contract with him. So he's dropped off by these guys who drive him in a boat, and they're just like, good luck, see ya, we're out of here. And this robot shows up, 444-1, and it's this kind of like junk pile robot. He's just kind of doing these things, introduces himself and gets the salaryman to come in, and the salaryman is basically says, oh, I'm here to stop the project, so I want you to halt all the robots, stop the machinations, because this is all pretty much self-built. So the robots are self-building. There's very little in terms of people running the project. So this one robot caretaker, 441, is kind of the head robot, so to speak. And his programming is to make sure this project gets finished at all costs. So the salaryman is showing up and saying, hey, we've got to shut this down. And the robot is just like, okay. And in pure robot fashion, just kind of invites the guy in, sees him to his quarters, and then it's this slow descent into madness as the robot is doing everything to countermand what the salaryman is trying to do in shutting down the project. It should be noted, and this is important, that the robot itself has this humongous extension cord that allows it to go everywhere. So it's kind of weird that way, but there you go. So as this poor salaryman is finding the diaries of those who came before him and finding out that they're slowly going mad and they wind up killing themselves, he decides that's not going to be me. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to do that here. Even though the robot continues to feed him at first, nice meals, then just rice, and then it's like literally nuts and bolts and oil, right? He's just trying to kill the salaryman. So it's this little battle between the two of them. And there's a nice little twist ending to this. And I don't want to spoil it. I think you should watch it. Just because it's actually a really nice visual to look at, even though it's a horrible story. And, but yeah, there's an interesting ending, an interesting little twist at the end of it. So please do watch it. So the reason why I'm calling this Cyberpunk is, again, Akira is considered to be Cyberpunk. And it's this idea that technology is alive, and that's not necessarily a good thing. A big thing about Cyberpunk is talking about not necessarily the evils, but the downfalls of technology when you become too reliant on things. So here's this entire project that's reliant on these robots getting it done, to the point where the robots themselves, their reason for being is to finish this project. So even though they're masters, this the salaryman, this human comes in, they're like, no, we can't. No, this is why we're alive. So we're gonna have to do something to you to make sure that we continue our existence. And that's one of the big fears in Cyberpunk, is that technology will become sentient, and it'll become aware. A lot of people joke about Skynet, but really it's about AI. It's about robots becoming their own beings, and then just saying, well, do we really need man? And so you have those concepts kind of thrown in there in this very funny but violent anime short. So yeah, it's definitely got that cyberpunk aesthetic of technology is not always good. Things can go bad if you don't keep your hands on it, keep your eyes on it, and make sure it does what it's supposed to do. That's the subject that we're having today about AI. We see this all the time. At what point does our work become our work, or at what point does it become an AI's work, and can an AI learn and do its own thing? So it's kind of scary thoughts, and that's the thought process behind the construction cancellation order. The other part of this is also the idea in Cyberpunk that it's really not about governments, it's about corporations. And corporations are about the monies, right? So the whole reason why the salaryman is there is to shut things down, because it's not cost effective. So of course it has to be shut down. But you're dealing with semi-sentient beings, robots and stuff, that are going, well, no, we want to continue doing the thing because that's our purpose. So by shutting these people down, or shutting these, see, I equated them as people. Shutting these robots down, are you actually killing them? And is 441, the caretaker robot, kind of justified in what it's doing to the salaryman? Maybe. That's something you'll have to figure out for yourself. But yeah, there's that corporate, mega corporation idea that they have so much power that they can walk into another country and kind of dictate terms, so to speak. And that's one of the evils of Cyberpunk, is the mega corporations. So yeah, another one by Atomo. Awesome. Atomo, as we all know, is awesome. And if you have not seen this, you're gonna laugh, but it's also gonna give you some thought, some stuff to think about. All right, so yeah, watch it. Okay, so that was the first Cyberpunk review. Just to recap, I'll be reviewing 4 more Cyberpunk properties, and they could be anime, they could be different types of animation, they could be live action, they could be something else, a book, I don't know. But we're going to get 4 more of those over the next few months, and of course you'll see them as they come up. And I think we're going to have something over on the Cytube for you this week, so be sure to check that link down below. And in terms of Neo Tokyo as a whole, even though I did 2 out of the 3, The Running Man and Construction Cancellation Order, watch the whole thing. It's actually a really good anthology series. Some of these anthology series can be really, really amazing. Neo Tokyo is one of those. So please check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Let me know what you thought of the 2 Cyberpunks down below. Keep it clean. No trolling, please. And yeah, next week we'll see what kind of review we got for you. All right, so you guys stay good, be healthy, love you, and I will see you next time. And as always, watch more anime. Oh, side note, I almost forgot. Check down below over at Anime Archaeology. We got some stuff to talk about. Check down the link, 7 o'clock, Sundays. Come on by. All right, see you guys next time.